Number 8, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. This game was okay. I like that they added some new features like the live selections to either fight or flight whenever Nemesis was around. Something that they could improve on would be the dodge mechanics for Jill. It was really inconsistent at times. Number 7, Resident Evil 1 Remake. There are many positive changes with this remake. I enjoyed learning about Lisa Trevor, her family, and I actually wanted to help her out instead of hurting her. Something I would change though is the mansion and the gameplay because it just took too long to beat. It became tedious after a while. Number 6, Resident Evil 1, the original. The cheesy lines and corny jokes is what made this game a classic. Something that they could have done better was just communicating to the player that Chris's playthrough would have less inventory space. Number 5, Resident Evil 3, the remake. I enjoyed the gameplay mechanics and the improvements on the dodge mechanisms. However, it would have been great or even better if the player were allowed to fight against Nemesis more instead of just watching him in the movie scenes. Number 4, Resident Evil 4, the remake. I like that they made this game more mature and gave it a darker tone. However, after playing for a while, the game did seem kind of long. Number 3, Resident Evil 4, the original. I loved the comedy, I loved the action, I loved playing as Leon and Ashley. The only thing I didn't like was that it did seem kind of drawn out after a while. Number 2, Resident Evil 2 Remake. This game was something else for me, from the zombies, liquors, and especially Mr. X constantly wanting to be with Leon and Claire. Something I would change though is the stories and inconsistencies between scenario 1 and 2. They could have done it a lot better. Number 1, Resident Evil 2. This game gets the number 1 spot because it was made in the 90s and can still hold its own. The gameplay mechanics between Claire and Leon are spot on. The story is compelling. They're not afraid to be raw and keep it real. For instance, they tell the player why and how Sherry got infected. They tell us more about the terrible people the Birkins are, and they give more details as to why Chief Irons is a piece of shit. If you haven't played this game yet, I promise you, you'll be amazed. It's actually more consistent than the remake, which is surprising. If you play Leon A and then switch over to Claire B, you'll get something different. And when I say different, it's not going to be those subtle changes like in the remake. It'll just be a story of its own. I promise you, you'll like it.